What is up, everybody? Justin Millette wanted to get on here and go over the May and June market update for you guys and all of the MLS stats. So, starting off, we'll cover Anchorage, and then we'll go into the Matsu, Borough, so Palmer, Wasilla, and talk about kind of what we're seeing, as well as kind of like what to expect probably in the next coming months as we see a little bit of a market shift. Market shift doesn't mean market crash. It just means we are moving away from the crazy market that we've been experiencing these last year and a half, 2 years, which was a major seller's market, right? And, you know, buyers, I can understand the frustration. You didn't have a whole lot of power beyond interest rates, right, which were phenomenal. But now we're moving towards a normal market, and that is a good thing. I'm sure everyone is a little exhausted from the last 2 years. And so here are some market updates on kind of what we're seeing direct from MLS. So we're reporting in July last month's MLS stats for June. So we don't have any current MLS stats of what we're even seeing as far as so far into July. So let's break it down. So just in the Anchorage Muni, what we're seeing is in May, we have the average list price of around $528,000. In June, that number has gone down to $515,000. The average sales price in Anchorage during the month of May was $488,000 and has decreased by almost $10,000 to $479,000. But the number of sold homes has gone up from 192 in May to 220 in June. Now, our pendings have also gone up, which means houses under contract from 220 to 244. And then, but along with that is before we were selling more homes. We were pending more homes than were coming on market. So our active listings or listings being added, we were selling more per month than what was being added to inventory. So we were selling at roughly 110% of the inventory, which was dwindling our inventory way down. So that's why we're having this supply and demand thing that we're seeing. And so our active listings went up by almost 50,000 or 50, not 50,000, that'd be crazy. But so we were at 216 in May, up to 277. Our days on market increased a little bit. So as interest rates rised, we were able to see demand come down a little bit because obviously buyers and their ability to for home affordability has greatly changed over the last few months, right? So before we were at 2.5%, 3%, 3.5%. Now it went almost all the way up to 6%, and some lenders were even quoting some borrowers in the 7% range and are now down as of today for a very well-qualified buyer, roughly around 4.75, so 4.75%, which is a good thing. So and of course, our new listings on market for May, this is a big factor, right? As we move into the hotter months of summer, we always see an influx of listings because I'll be fair, I don't want to move in the winter just like no one else does. But we had 280 new listings in May while we transitioned into 334 new listings in June. So we're seeing more listings come on market, as well as some of the number of sold has gone up, but the number of listings to how much is being sold has changed a little bit. So the demand has gone down while the inventory has gone up, mainly because of interest rates and how that is impacting home buyers and their qualification process and how much they can really afford. So that is the Anchorage Muni, so taking into consideration almost all of Anchorage. And as now we're going to move on to the Matsu Borough, so Palmer, Wasilla, and so basically our neighbors just 45 minutes north of Anchorage. So the average list price went up in through May through June. So we went from an average of 456 to 466. A lot of this, of course, is as new construction is being completed, right? New construction always fetches a higher price point and a higher price per square foot. Now, the average sales price did go down a little bit. So the average sales price went from $419,000 down almost to $20,000 to $398,000. Of course, sold listings went up quite a bit, actually. So in May, it was 195 up to 266 in June. But the number of pendings went down. Remember the demand feature. So 234 to 213 in June. And then the number of active listings, of course, increased as the demand went down and inventory started going up, as well as the number of active new listings went on market. So we went from 380 in May to 453 new, active listings in June. The average days on market went down from 23 to 20, but we're still hovering around 3 weeks for the average days on market. So if your home's not selling in the first 48 hours, 2 hours, 20 minutes like it was the previous first quarter of the year, that is okay, right? We're moving into this normal market. Now, number of new listings increased from 322 new listings in May into 337 new listings in June. So obviously inventory is increasing, but demand has gone down as well in the Matsu borough. So now, what we're also seeing, we have quite a few other buyers. Remember, this does not include multifamily, so 2, 3, or 4 units. Does not obviously not include any commercial, as well as condos. So condos and multifamily homes are not included in these stats. But what we're seeing in the multifamily market is essentially because they follow a lot of the residential trends, is we are seeing the fourplexes and some of the higher price units stay on market a little bit longer. And the reasoning behind that is because of the FHA guidelines. So the FHA guidelines have a stipulation within the guidelines that basically that using 75% of the rental income, right, that would have to pay for all of the principal, interest, taxes, and insurance on the property, right? And it's called the self-sustainability. What we're finding right now is because home prices, including fourplexes and triplexes, have gone up so much in the last 24 months that a lot of these are no longer meeting the self-sustainability guideline of FHA. And which you may not know is with FHA allows you to put only 3.5% down towards a multifamily dwelling or a single family home. So if you have a property listed at $700,000 or $800,000 and it doesn't fit into the FHA guideline and you're not a VA buyer, then your down payment goes up considerably into the 5, 10, or even higher for a percentage down, which puts a lot of people out of that realm of being able to buy that property. So that's kind of what we're seeing a little bit with fourplexes and triplexes. Duplexes aren't affected as much. Of course, you'll want to give the leases to a lender to have them check those requirements and make sure you work with an agent who understands these and these guidelines to help you determine if that property is going to work for the FHA guidelines or not. Now, in the condo space, condos typically always sell a little bit slower than a standard home, so the days on market are going to be a little higher. We're still seeing a ton of movement in the first-time home buyer market, so even in the $350,000 price point and below, we're still seeing quite a bit of movement at a faster average days on market than the rest of everything else. We are seeing a slowdown in the market above $500,000, $600,000, right? Because obviously rates have really impacted those people quite a bit, because as the interest rates go up, obviously you're adding way more interest to that monthly payment. And so it's affecting their their debt to income quite a bit. And so those people who are normally here have had to move down a few brackets as far as what they can afford on a monthly payment. Now, this is not to deter anyone from buying and selling. It's still a fantastic time to buy. It's a fantastic time to sell. We're still having buyers and sellers make a ton of, obviously, real estate deals. As a buyer, the needle has moved a little bit in your favor. We're starting to actually see price reductions. We're also seeing concessions from sellers as far as reducing prices, closing cost assistance, and we're even starting to see that sellers understand that interest rates have gone up, so they're willing to even do point buy downs for you as the buyer to help improve that monthly payment so you can afford the home. So don't be discouraged. It's still a fantastic time to buy, even at the rate as of today, which was a little around 4.75%. Of course, all dependent upon your credit worthiness and what you need to talk to your mortgage lender about, right? And they will give you the proper rate that fits you. But that is the current market update of kind of what is going on in the Anchorage and Mat-Su area. If you have any questions, make sure to drop us a comment, shoot us a phone call, 907-313-8805. We'll be happy to answer whatever questions you have. Make sure to like and subscribe as well, and we'll be getting a bunch more information for you every single month on this channel. And stay tuned because we are back to dropping a lot more videos for you. Hopefully you guys all have been enjoying this wonderful weather we've been having. And we will see you on the next one.